Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Reef Life. Today I'm about to show you a couple of improvements in the tank, but first let's start off with introducing this new gimbal that I'm using. So before I was using the Osmo Mobile 2, which I've had for quite a while, and I thought it would be nice to get an upgrade, and I found a great deal on a DJI Osmo Mobile SE, which is a couple of generations newer, and decided to get that to get you some more stable footage of the tank. So as you see, I'm moving around the camera a bit right now. Still getting used to this new one. It works practically the same as the old one, but it feels just a little bit more smooth overall. And it does seem like it's better to it holds up the camera a bit better. With the old one, I often had the idea that the weight of the phone was a little bit too high for the gimbal to process or to take. So sometimes it would fail. But this one seems a lot better. It charges over USB-C, which is a plus. And overall, I think a very worthy upgrade to bring you better content altogether. So that's the first upgrade that I wanted to tell you about. The second upgrade is in the lighting. As you can see, there's now 3 light sources coming from above the tank. So while I used to have this one and this one before, which are Ecotech Radion XR30s, the Pro version G5, so the 5th generation, I thought the spread was pretty nice. I did add diffusers to them to get a little bit more that T5 feeling, fluorescent coloring in the tank without too much flickering. But then again, I thought I switched them around a bit from the left to the center and back and forth again. And I thought, well, let's just add a third one, which is an XR15, which I got second hand. The XR30s I bought new. So the XR15 is actually the blue version, which combines well with the Pro versions. If you look closely, it might seem a little tad more blue. But overall it matches in and it mixes in pretty nicely across the entire tank. As you can see, all the corals and all the fish are lit quite evenly, and I do like how this extra light gives even less shade across the reef, since there are a couple more LEDs to cover the entire reef. So overall, very pleased with the look that this new setup gives the tank, and yeah, very pleased to see how that turned out. So that's one of the aesthetic changes that I've made to the tank to make it look a little bit more beautiful. Then another change is that the fox face is gone from the tank. I actually sold that yesterday to a local guy, which I met through a online forum. He was looking for one for his new tank, and it was actually getting a bit too large for this tank. It was also creating a lot of nutrients, of course. Nutrients is something that I'm always struggling with in my reefer tanks. This one before this one as well. So I thought let's move it out, migrate it to a new tank, and yeah, continue with fish that were already in here. I might get a new sail fin in a couple of weeks or months, just a small one, to see how that grows in the tank, but still contemplating whether I should do that or not, since the sail fin will also grow big in the end. But all in all, happy that the tank is a bit less clogged now with fish. So overall, it's a little bit more gives a calmer look now that the fox face is no longer in there. Although I really appreciated the looks of it, since it was a Magnificus, which is one of the more beautiful species of the fox face that you can find out there. So another change is not visible in the tank itself, but actually in the cabinet. So I'm going to show you that right now. It's something that I have been planning to do for a very long time, and that is cleaning up the cabinet. And yeah, that's what I did. It's still not there yet. In the back, there's still some cables lying around. but I decided to make a shelf here and hide all the adapters underneath that, so it gives a somewhat cleaner overall look when you open the cabinets, and also it's more easy to see how much the dosing containers still have in them. And I know that once they go below the area of the shelf that I built, I need to refill them because I like to keep a safe margin of 1 liter inside the dosing container, just to make sure that I don't run out of fluids. So that's that. Then on the left side, the sump is something that I cleaned a couple of weeks ago. I like to keep my sump as clean as possible, just to prevent any issues with nutrients building up inside the sump. I've had that before in one of my previous tanks, and that always was a pain to clean. So now I just try to keep it clean all of the time, just to keep it tidy and make sure that the skimmer can do its optimal job. I've set it to a bit of wet skimming, as you can see. The skimmate is pretty translucent, and that's because I've set it to a bit higher volume to make sure that it filters out all of the nutrients. Because I did some water measurements recently, and it turns out that the phosphates and the nitrates were peaking again. So that's something that I have been battling for a couple of years. In this tank, in previous tanks, it's actually always not the case if the nutrients will get too high, but when. Oh, that time has come right now. So even though I'm dosing a bit of carbon, that's a mix of vinegar and vodka, still this tank develops a bit of nutrients, nitrates and phosphates. But I'm using some GFO inside the sump to clear that out. I'm also using a lanthane chloride, which is a very effective means of lowering the phosphates in your tank, but it's only advised to use that once your phosphates are above 0.1, so like 0.4, 0.5 or something like that, since it's kind of a sledgehammer method to bring down the nutrient levels. I'm not adding too much, just once every couple of other days a bit of lanthane chloride, mix it with water, and make sure that the adding it to the sump area, just to make sure that it binds to the phosphates and then filters them out through the skimmer, and of course a bit through the ReefMat as well, since that's also something that filters all of the water. High nutrients again, surprise, surprise, but this time I'm aware. I'm kind of early, and I can do something about it, so that's very nice. So again, the Salarias is moving around, roaming around, as you can see there. It's obviously attracted to the food, which is called Mustic. It's a product by Easy Reefs. I've been promoting this food for a couple of years now. I'm not being sponsored, but I just think that it's a very good and dense food that all the fish kind of enjoy. So some of the fish are picking at it, as you can see, like the copperband and the wrasse, the Haligures irides, and then other fish are just eating the particles that come off it and that are spreading inside the water column. So overall, very great food, but also very nutrient rich. So I'm only feeding this once every week or once every 2 weeks to make sure that it doesn't build up any excess nitrates or phosphates over time. Then there's 2 corals that I got yesterday, 2 new corals, not too big ones, but still very nice. There's this mushroom right here and this one that were on the same rock. I bought it because of this one, which I really like. There's a bit of a bubbly structure, and then the edges are a bit green, bright green, which makes it look very nice and makes it stand out. So I really like that one. And then there's this piece of Sinularia, if I'm saying that correctly. It's very beautiful. It's beautiful in green. I already had a little piece right here, but I thought it would be great to have a new piece, which was slightly bigger. and also has a slightly better survival chance. When I have two pieces, I can obviously place it in two parts of the reef, and at least one of them will survive, hopefully. Whenever the tank is not crashing, then that should be all right. So that's quite a lot of updates in one video. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please feel free to like and or subscribe. That will help me grow the channel even further. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a nice week ahead of you. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now, and cheers.